All right, let's talk about it. You've probably heard these two names popping up everywhere, Mounjaro and Ozempic. They are, without a doubt, two of the biggest players in weight management right now. But here's the thing, they're not the same. So the big question is, which one might be right for you? We're going to dive deep and give you a clear guide to really understand the differences. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll cover the basics of these two contenders. Then, we'll get into the science, how they actually work in your body. After that, it's the head-to-head comparison, looking at the hard data. We'll also explore what kind of profile might fit each medication. And finally, we'll wrap up with how you can approach making this important choice with your doctor. Okay, first things first. Let's just meet the two contenders and get a feel for what they are on the surface. Now, if you just look at them on paper, they seem incredibly similar. You've got Ozempic, which is the drug semaglutide, and Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide. Both are once-a-week injections, and they're both officially approved to treat type 2 diabetes, though they're prescribed for weight loss under different brand names. That's Wegovy and Zepbound. So far, so similar, right? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because under the hood, there is a fundamental scientific difference between them. And honestly, this one key difference explains everything else we're going to talk about. So let's get into the mechanics. So both of these drugs work by mimicking a natural hormone in our bodies called GLP-1. And GLP-1 is an absolute powerhouse. It helps manage your blood sugar, it dials down your appetite, and it slows down digestion, which is what helps you feel fuller for longer. Pretty amazing stuff. And here it is. This is the big one. Ozempic is what we call a GLP-1 agonist. That means it targets that one powerful hormone pathway. But Mounjaro, it's a dual agonist. It hits GLP-1 plus a second hormone called GIP. This GIP hormone is thought to give an extra boost to insulin sensitivity and fat metabolism. So you've got a single action versus a dual action approach. I love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. If you think of Ozempic as a really effective single tool, Mounjaro is more like a multi-tool, you know? It's designed to come at the problem from two different angles at the very same time. So what does that dual action mechanism actually translate to in the real world? How does it play out when you look at the results from clinical trials? Let's get into the data and compare these two side by side. This table gives us a fantastic snapshot of the whole story. You can see the mechanism difference we just talked about, the single versus dual action. You can see the difference in average weight loss, the side effects, which look pretty similar, by the way, how long each has been on the market, and of course, the general difference in cost. But let's zoom in on the number that gets the most attention, weight loss. And wow, the clinical trials really show a clear difference here. With semaglutide, patients saw about 12 to 15% of body weight lost on average. But with tirzepatide, that number jumps to between 15 and a massive 22%. That dual action really seems to show up on the scale. Now, what about side effects? Well, here, they're actually remarkably similar. For both, the most common issues are gastrointestinal things, like nausea. The one small difference you might hear about is that because Mounjaro has that dual action, it might cause a bit more nausea right when you start. But for most people, that tends to fade over time. And of course, we have to talk about the practical side of things, the cost. Being the newer drug with that dual action mechanism and, frankly, stronger weight loss results in trials, Mounjaro almost always comes with a higher price tag than Ozempic. Okay, so we've looked at the science, we've looked at the data, now let's try to bring this home. How can all this information help you figure out which medication might be a better fit? Let's build a couple of potential user profiles. So, which of these sounds a little more like you? Someone might lean toward Team Semaglutide if they're maybe aiming to lose 20 to 50 pounds, or if they feel more comfortable with a medication that's been around longer and has more long-term data. Cost could also be a big factor. On the other hand, Team tirzepatide might be a better fit for someone with, say, 50-plus pounds to lose, someone who's looking for the most powerful results available, or perhaps someone who's been dealing with really stubborn insulin resistance. All right, we've laid out all this information. So how in the world do you actually make a decision? Let's talk about the final and maybe most important takeaway. First, and this is so important to remember, this is not a one-and-done permanent decision. It's a journey. People can and absolutely do switch between these medications with their doctor. Maybe you hit a plateau on one and want to try the other, or maybe you reach your goal and switch to a more affordable option for maintenance. It's flexible. At the end of the day, there's no such thing as the single best drug. It's all about what's best for you. The right choice is going to come from a good conversation with your doctor where you balance all of these personal factors. What are your goals? What's your medical history? What's your budget? And just what are you comfortable with? And that really leaves us with the final question, the one to take with you to that doctor's appointment. In your health journey, right now, what's the most important factor? Is it getting the absolute maximum weight loss? Is it the monthly cost? Or is it using a medication that has the longest safety track record? Knowing your own priority is the key to making the best possible choice for you.